Far Cry 6 is an open-world action-adventure first-person shooter that dives into the story of a fascist regime stuck in the past and not moving forward anytime soon. Far Cry 6 delivers on the notion that the character you play as will save Yara and potentially end the rule of a dictator that said all the right things but created a society that is divided, corrupt, and freedom-hungry. What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome to my review of Far Cry 6. This game, I did not expect to love this game so much. I really didn't expect to like it as much as I did. I thought it was just gonna be another one of those shooter things that was just all shooty and no substance, but I was wrong. I was wrong. It was very much substance. Still a lot of shooty, but a lot of substance. So as always, the article versions of my reviews are going to be down in the description below. Just look at, blog and all that kind of stuff and you'll see it. Starting on the game, I thought, like I said before, that this was going to be the run-of-the-mill shooter, that it would just have very little story, not that much meaning. I was wrong. I was very wrong. The game was a long game, which I will discuss more about as I go on in the review. But man, with every passing moment and cutscene, the story enriched, and I felt myself becoming more and more mesmerized. This is not your typical shooter game that is overly simplified. Far Cry 6 has depth, meaning, and is conscious of the world and the economic and political impacts of countries all over the globe. With a story that resonates with its players on the current state of the world politically, it's amazing that this game was not talked about more, with discussions on freedom in other countries, waiting for freedom, and the concept of unity instead of division. This game dives into so many topics that makes the players think and brings things home in a way that is understandable and real. Now, while a lot of things in this game are rather simple, the controls, the mechanics, the way in which objectives are set up, much like any kind of game of where you will have a chapter and then you'll have like subsections where you have like multiple chapters within it. It's very much like that, of where you're going in. Some chapters, they will be shorter than others, but for the most part, it's like a big chapter with like little chapters in between. The story and the characters make the game what it is. If you take away the story, then you just get Call of Duty. That's basically it. I never understood why people liked Far Cry. I never understood the series. I never really understood the draw to it. But playing this game and seeing the setting and seeing the story, I finally get why it's so popular and why people are driven so much to it. The game takes a shooting game and it kind of ups the ante and turns it into this undeniable experience that makes the player interested and invested. By the end of Far Cry 6, emotions ran high and I felt as if I ran a marathon with Danny, Clara, and Anton. Seeing the lack of humanity and distrust a society has for its leaders, it's something I never thought I would ever see so accurately mimicked in a game. Far Cry 6 represents countries that are freedom-starved and mimicked how Americans view the political system. Everyone in the world is tired and hungry for a new chapter, one of bliss and prosperity, not sadness and anxiety of what's to come. The child is father to the man. It's one of those quotes that will always stick with me. When Anton's son gets into the picture, the entire game takes a 360 and you see him very early on in the game. I think within the first, I would say half hour, you see the kid enter into the game and it's like, okay, this game is a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be. It takes a turn and it shows the humanity of what came from a brutal fascista or dictator. Now, again, being that this was my very first Far Cry experience, and it's kind of weird to say that because of how popular the games are, but being that this was my first Far Cry experience, I didn't know what to expect. And being that in the beginning, everything is thrown at the player all at once. You don't know whether to shit or go left. The story is incredible, but a little slow to start. I would highly recommend, if you are that kind of person who wants something fast-paced and a non-slow starting story, I would not recommend this game because it does take a little bit to get into what the bulk of the story is going to be, but after it gets into it, it picks up quite a bit. I like a little more of a slow brew in my story, so this was my perfect cup of tea. And what I also like, I actually forgot to mention this in the article, but I'll probably sneak it in there after I film this video. One thing I really did love about this game so much is that unlike Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Red Dead Redemption 2, this kept the story throughout the entire thing, no matter what mission you were doing, no matter what part of the quest line you were doing, it still kept in tandem, it still kept in line with what the main story was, and I love that. Assassin's Creed Valhalla didn't do that, and I absolutely hated it. Parts of Red Dead Redemption 2 did not do that. I absolutely hated it. I was just like, why aren't we keeping in line with what the story actually is, what the main plot points are and everything? The fact that this game does that, and it's as big as it is, it really says something, and I so love that. Anton Sung created this divisiveness in the story where Danny wanted to keep him safe, while the other Guerrillas wanted him dead just as much as his father. Later in the game, the players will see just how important of a character he is and how he set the tone for the game from beginning to end. Going into the Far Cry franchise for the first time, I was skeptical about my adventure and what I was about to undergo, but as the journey went on, I was on the edge of my seat with every passing chapter. This game is a long one, so be prepared for 20+ hours of gameplay. If you're a completionist like myself, there is over 100+ hours of gameplay, so buckle in. Certain chapters will also go by quicker than others will, with one chapter being more conversation or an entire chapter being an extraction of captives. It will vary. I truly enjoyed this game and all it had to offer, with amazing diverse characters like Bembe Alvarez and the inclusion of a transgender character, which I think is absolutely incredible. Far Cry 6 really got down the concept of there being multiple types of people and not just one type. Whether FPS games are your type or they're not, the story itself is one that is unforgettable. The story showed merit and the strength in struggle and pieces of peace within chaos. As Janis Joplin so kindly put it, freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. That was it for today's review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you've played Far Cry 6 down in the comments below. I would love to get your input and opinions on the game. But with that being said, stay casually nerdy, you guys, and I will see you all in tomorrow's video. Bye.
You have killed thousands, set my city on fire, destroyed the dream of paradise. All that stands between you and the throne is me and my son.
I'm no dictator.
Lies. You're not Clara. Yara is burning, and you don't put out fires with free elections. Last lesson, Mio. There is one thing in life that will always be true. Do you know what that is?
Death.
See?
Once a guerrilla.
Always a guerrilla.